Hello.
Hi.
Well, my presentation will have three key points. One, the role of biotechnology in animal science. Number two, the role of biotechnology with plant science. Number three, role of general biotechnology in related to human welfare. Biotechnology is intimately tied up with the science and technology, scientific knowledge. Biotechnology is the broadest sense is the use of biological system to carry out a technical process. Using modern biotechnology, scientists can move genes from valuable traits from one plant to another plant. This way they can make plant taste or look better or to be more nutritious, protect itself from insect species or insect pests, produce more food or survive and prosper in inhospitable environment. So there are a number of ways by which we can improve the plants as well as animals. So therefore biotechnology is a set of techniques by which human beings modify living things or use them as a tool. It is modern form of biotechnology uses techniques of molecular biology to understand and manipulate the basic building blocks of living things. The human capacity for good or evil, whether intended or unintended, impacts how people view the ethics of technology. Human dealings with the non-human world were regarded as ethically neutral. So therefore, biotechnology brings a new power to humanity. So these powers should remind us of our responsibility to nature and the environment, to all of life, to the future, and to the human nature and personhood. To understand these responsibilities entails the development of wisdom. That wisdom requires ethical reflection before developing specific form of biotechnology. Taking the time for that reflection can go against the peace of biotechnology development and hubris over human wisdom. Therefore, in making use of the biotechnology, we have to see how far the wisdom can play a major role. These developments have potential for much good, but also risk changing, harming, or even destroying some species, including ourselves. To make the right ethical decision requires a supreme wisdom, an impossible situation for man in general because he does not possess that wisdom, and in particular for a contemporary man because he denies the very existence of object's value and truth. So therefore we need wisdom most when we believe in the least. The discovery of DNA in 1953, Watson Crick, the epoch-making discovery in biotechnology or in molecular biology, has thrown a new avenue for biotechnology. So the decade of 1980 saw the first transgenic mammals, which are mammals engineered to carry gene from other species and to transmit it to their offspring, as well as an important advance in the ability to multiply copies of DNA through polymerase reactions. So the Human Genome Project, an international effort, began around 1990s to detail the entire DNA information contained in human cells. Spark development bioinformatics, the use of powerful computers to acquire, store, share, and sort genetic information. As a result, not only is the standard human DNA sequence fully known, but it is now possible to determine the detailed code in any DNA strand quickly and cheaply, a development likely to have wide application in medicine and beyond. Developments in cloning and the science and technology of stem cells offer additional tools for biotechnology. In popular understanding, cloning is usually seen as a technique of reproduction, and of course it doesn't have that potential. The birth of Dolly, the cloned sheep, announced in 1997, was a surprising achievement that suggests that any mammal, including human beings, can be created from a cell taken from previously existing individual. Many who accept reproductive technology generally, including such techniques as in vitro fertilization, found themselves opposing human reproductive cloning, but they are not sure how to distinguish between the two religiously or morally compelling ways. The techniques used to create Dolly, the transfer of nuclear DNA from an adult cell to an egg, thereby creating an embryo and starting it through its own developmental process, can serve purposes other than reproduction, and it is these other uses that are especially interesting to biotechnology. Of particular interest is the joining of the nuclear transfer technique to the use of embryonic stem cells to treat human diseases. In 1998, researchers announced the success of deriving human embryonic stem cells from donated embryos. So these cells shows promises for treating many diseases. Once derived, they seem to be capable of being cultured indefinitely, dividing and doubling in number about every 30 hours. All these are development in biotechnology of human use today in current technological development. Stem cells can be derived from sources other than the embryo, and research is underway to discover the promises of stem cells derived from alternative sources. There are two advantages in using these other sources. First, no embryos are destroyed in deriving these cells. In the case of Dolly, the number of eggs destroyed is more than 250. But here we are not destroying any cells, embryo cells. For anyone who sets high standard for protection for the human embryo, the destruction of the embryo calls into question the morality of any use of embryonic stem cells. Second, the use of stem cells from sources other than an embryo may mean that in time medical researchers will learn how to derive healing cells from the patient's own body. The advantage here is that these cells, when implanted, will not be rejected by the patient's immune system. Embryonic system cells, which may have advantages in terms of their development and plasticity, are decidedly problematic because of the immune responses. So similarly, we have also achieved good enough in plant biotechnology. So plants, perhaps the first organism modified by the earliest biotechnology, remain the subject of intense effort. Around the year 2000, major advances were made in plant genome research, leading to the possibility that the full gene system of some plant species can be studied in detail, and the way in which plants respond to the environment may be also understood and never before. For instance, attempts have been made to increase the protein value of plants like rice. The dependence of farm plants or fertilizers, pesticides may also be reduced using biotechnology to engineer plants that, for instance, are resistant to certain species. As we know, the golden rice or BT, the number of examples are available today to show the development technology in biotechnology related to plants. Adding protein to plant by altering the genes might cause health problem for at least some who consume the plants, perhaps though rare allergic reactions. Genes that produce proteins harmful to some insects may cause harm to other organisms, and they might even jump from the modified farm plant to wild plants growing nearby. Furthermore, the consumers have a right to avoid food that is altered by modern biotechnology, so strict segregation and labeling must be required. So in this context, I would like to make an example or experience what happened. In one of our conferences, the National Biodiversity Authority chairman made a comment saying that modified plants are essential today and we need use, or we are dependent on the modified plants in order to fulfill the food security. Within a week, the chairman was asked to resign from this position because of the lobby of the NGOs. So therefore there is a conflict of interest here. The NGOs mostly against such development technology. Of course, we are afraid what will be the impact of all these plants or animals produced by use of biotechnology. In the long run, we need a lot of experimental desire and see that how or what type of impact it will have on human being or consumers. But to put an end in the beginning itself is not a good sign, and it will not have any progress for the humanity. Animals are also modified by biotechnology, and this raises additional concern for animal welfare. Usually the purpose of the modification is related to human health. So biotechnology may create animals that produce pharmaceuticals that are expressed, for instance, in milk, or they may create animal research models that mimic human disease. So these modifications usually involve a change in the animal germline, that is, they are transmissible to future generation and they affect every cell in the body. Such animal may be patented, at least in some countries. All this raises concern about what some see as the commodification of life, the creation of unnecessary suffering for the animals, and the reductionist attitude toward nature that sees animals as nothing but raw materials that may be reshaped according to human interest. So therefore, the biotechnology offers a new insight to the fundamental process of disease, either by creation of animal models or by insight into the function of human cells. With this understanding, the researchers are able to design pharmaceutical products with the precise knowledge of their molecular and cellular effects, the greater awareness of which patient will benefit, and with the fewer side effects. So this leading to a revolution in pharmaceutical products and is proving to be effective in treating a wide range of diseases, including cancer, but at rapidly increasing cost amidst growing concern about access to these benefits, especially in the poorest nation. So therefore, technology is coming up, most of the multinational companies taking up such a research, and the problem here is the drugs which are developed, whether it is affordable, accessible to the marginal people or third world countries. So therefore, there is a concern here similar to the Terminator gene. In 1952, scientists transferred starting from the animal biotechnology. So most of the animals has been used and developed, starting from tadpole, and now we have umpteen number of animals has been used and cloned with the help of various techniques, especially as example is given, including sheep, goat, cows, mice, pigs, cats, and rabbits. While doing this, there are certain organs like pig, whose organs can be used, replaced in human beings. Therefore, with that background interest, whether we can think of producing such animals by cloning. So these are the certain questions, and ethical, whether it is religiously acceptable, as a human being will be acceptable. All these things are arising a lot of ethical questions. Then there are multinational companies and a research lab who are involved in cloning the animals for various reasons. And this is also useful in certain cases like endangered species. As we know, today we talk more about biodiversity and the need for the conservation, and we talk about more on in situ conservation, ex situ conservation, to maintain the species diversity, which is in a bioresources useful, and therefore can we think of using this technology in cloning the endangered species or the species which are already extinct. So these are some of the things which are useful through biotechnology, which also need consideration towards ethical issues. So reproductive cloning technology may be used to repopulate endangered species such as African Bengal antelope, Sumatran tiger. There are number of species available today which are at the verge of extinction or already extinct. Therefore, can we make use of the cloning technology to rejuvenate the lost animals? Then another important thing is therapeutic cloning. So therapeutic cloning is the creation of embryos for use of biomedical research. Of course, this is also very important, and therefore we have to see how best we can make use of the technology for human welfare. So people who oppose human cloning are as varied as the interest and institution they support. Religious leaders, scientists, politicians, philosophers, Ethists argue against the mortality and acceptability of human cloning. Nearly all objections hinge to various degrees on the definition of human life, beliefs about its sanctity and potentiality to adverse consequences of families and the society as a whole. So, in an effort to stimulate consideration of and debate, the various governments agency also, some of the agency is not in favor of human cloning and other related issues. But to mention few, how the biotechnology can be useful, like example like insect resistance, the plants with the help of Bt cottons, herbicide tolerant plants, disease resistance, drought tolerance and salinity tolerance. We already developed the salt tolerant rice. So what we have done, we have taken the mangrove genome, incorporated in the rice, and the rice has been developed to tolerate the saline water. So therefore, the availability of fresh water is rare wherever there is a possibility, availability of saline water, there we can use the rice which can be used. Similarly, there are a number of other characteristics also used, the drought resistance and so on. Then we have reached the stage of production of the edible vaccines, which can help us to remove the number of diseases, and it also assures the food security. And now the government of India has passed a bill, what you call the food security bill, and this has to be reassured with the help of agriculture by developing like a golden rice and enriched vitamins and other essential minerals, so that the food what we take in day-to-day life should be able to provide the essential components what is needed for normal growth. Therefore, by that we may be able to reduce the malnutrition and infant mortality. And here comes the problem of consumer acceptability. And critical to the success of biotechnology around the world, attitudes towards the biotechnology vary from country to country because of cultural and political differences, in addition to many other influences. Therefore, we need a sort of lobby here to understand the importance of modified plants and animals, how it could be used for the welfare of human being, and there are differences of opinion, and here we have to use the bioethics value, how far it could be used for the holistic or whole development of communities or otherwise humanity in general. So these are some of the animals which are used by cloning, produced by cloning. So the need of the hour is to make use of our knowledge and techniques through biotechnology to the ever-increasing problem of food production, anemia, crop protection, yield and hygiene, so that we may be able to find everlasting solution for the human suffering. As we progress towards the development of biotechnology, at the same time, we cannot ignore the importance of bioethical values in our scientific endeavors. So therefore, it is essential that our responsibility should not be one-sided, rather it should be more rational. Biotechnology would tell us how to achieve something, but the ethics would tell us whether it's right or wrong. The biotechnological advances, especially stem cell research, cloning, should be within the matrix of bioethics. Then the discoveries would not only be useful but also meaningful. Thank you.